Hey guys, I'm Dr. Hugh Sanderson. I want to welcome you back to the channel. Today, I'm going to tell you about the top 3 supplements I use in my practice for functional medicine patients that are suffering from thyroid problems and the number one mistake that people make in trying to reverse their thyroid disorder. All right, so the number one supplement I'm going to use in my office to address thyroid health is a product called Chinese Coptis. Chinese Coptis is going to address 2 major problems that I find in my office. One, it's going to help with blood sugar, okay? Because what we need to do is make sure that our blood sugar is regulated. Blood sugar is going to be the number one contributor to hormonal imbalance, thyroid disorders, fatigue, insomnia, weight gain, all the things that people talk about when they have a thyroid disorder, but they don't address one of the underlying causes that got them there in the first place. So oftentimes you may be running to a story of fatigue, but especially if you're talking about fatigue in the afternoon, or you just can't push till the end of the day, or you can't sleep enough hours in the night, these things are often correlated with the fact that you have irregular blood sugar. And it doesn't matter whether you eat clean or whether you eat dirty, these blood sugar problems can kind of pop up over time. And it's just going to be something that you have to deal with in order to fix your thyroid problem. So Chinese Coptis is going to help mitigate or help kind of regulate a little bit better some of your blood sugar while you do the dietary things, while you focus on blood sugar issues. Okay, the second thing that Chinese Coptis is going to do for you is going to start to address your intestinal dysbiosis. What we know is that 20% of your thyroid hormone, about 20%, is converted in the gut or the digestive tract into active thyroid hormone. So your thyroid primarily is going to produce something called T4. And in the gut, it's going to be converted 20% of it into T3. That T3 is what's going to give you most of the benefit of your thyroid hormone. So a lot of times you'll get a lab test that shows how much T3 and how much T4 you may have. And there's varieties, free T3, free T4, things like that. But you'll get a lab test that tells you how much of these you have. And sometimes you can find that the conversion isn't optimal. And that conversion isn't optimal, then what you can do is you start to address the reasons why it's not. Like I said, one of those reasons is that 20% of your thyroid hormone is converted into active thyroid hormone inside that gut. By using Chinese Coptis, you can address kind of infections such as fungus and parasites and viruses and whatever else you may have in there, bacteria also. These kind of infectious bugs, or what we call stealth infections, will slowly but surely downregulate your conversion of your thyroid hormone in the gut. So number one product that I'm going to use is actually a gut and blood sugar support for the thyroid called Chinese Coptis. All right, so the second product I'm going to use in my office to address thyroid health is going to be a roundabout way of helping the thyroid again. Because remember, I always want to address root causes whenever possible. And the last supplement I'll give you guys at the end is actually going to be kind of more like the one you guys were thinking of originally, which is a direct thyroid support. But the second product I'm going to use is called artichoke extract. And artichoke extract is going to do 2 main things. The first thing it's going to do is support liver health. Now, 80% approximately of your thyroid hormone is converted from inactive to active inside of the liver. So in that liver, it's critical that you have optimal function of the liver. If you don't have optimal function of the liver, you will not be able to convert enough thyroid hormone in order to have energy and feel well. Secondly, another thing that many people don't know is that if you Google or look up the symptoms of liver disorders, they're going to match very directly with thyroid disorders. It's oftentimes a little bit difficult to differentiate the two. So if you're someone at home and you're not working with a doctor, you may want to consider something like an artichoke extract because it's going to address both problems kind of at the same time. The second reason why we use artichoke extract is because probably, arguably the biggest hormonal impactor or effector of thyroid hormones is estrogen. So estrogen is going to interfere with your thyroid hormone production. So what we want to do is, this is really common. Obviously, most thyroid disorders are found in women, specifically hypothyroidism and Hashimoto's disease are found in women. And what you'll find is that estrogen or estrogen dominance is what's actually causing these people to have an altered thyroid state. Here's the thing. All these root causes depend on how long you've had that problem. If you've had that problem for a very, very long time, you're going to have to work at your root causes for quite some time. if you haven't had it for very long, if you felt good 6 months ago, if a year ago you were rocking it and you didn't have any fatigue or hair loss or thinning of the eyebrows or weight gain or anything like that, then maybe you don't have to work too long at these things. But it's important to know that if for any reason you had weight gain and you've been overweight, say for 20, 30 years, or underweight, but blood sugar irregularities, if you know you never ate clean, you may have some work cut out for you in order to restore the thyroid naturally. I do find that that's a mistake that people make, is assuming that by taking a supplement, their thyroid will reverse itself right away. This is not the case. And the third supplement that I'm going to use for thyroid patients in my office is a glandular. So what a glandular is we use, actually right now we use bovine. So it would be the thyroid gland from a cow. And what it contains in there is no hormones. So it doesn't contain any of your T4 or your T3 that you would get in, say, a prescription medication. What it's going to have is all the nutrients that you're looking for. So a lot of people are taking something like a multivitamin for a thyroid. I prefer not to use these combo products. I prefer to use a whole food glandular. So you get them from Healthy Cows, from a reputable company, which I'll put links to all the supplements in the bottom so you guys can see which ones I use in my office specifically. But just using a reputable brand is pretty important. But the glandular is going to have your selenium, it's going to have your tyrosine, it's going to have your B vitamins, it's going to have your zinc, it's going to have all these other supplements that people throw in an artificial form into a bottle or a capsule. And it's going to be all in one product. So what we use is that thyroid glandular. And the reason I use it is not just because it's natural, because sometimes synthetic medications or synthetic vitamins actually work better than natural products. For example, I use almost all synthetic B vitamins in my office. But not that the natural ones don't work, but oftentimes I get a faster response with the synthetic B vitamin. But with that synthetic B vitamin, it's a little bit different. What I'm monitoring with these two things is which one's giving me the better clinical result and the better lab changes. My experience is that a thyroid glandular gives me really good lab changes, meaning if we're using a thyroid glandular and your TSH is elevated or your T3, T4 hormone is off, we find a much quicker response if we use a glandular. So I recommend a glandular as the third product. It's really your only direct thyroid treatment that you might receive in my office. Other than that, we're going to be looking at the things that are causing your thyroid dysfunction. As promised, I want to share with you the number one reason why I feel that people don't get results when they're treating their thyroid. And the number one reason is that they're not addressing the root cause. Okay, so what a lot of people do is they're going right after the thyroid. They're trying to take a thyroid pill. They're trying to take a direct thyroid supplement. They're trying to take an herb that stimulates the thyroid to produce more. They're taking a brain glandular, a brain product that's going to stimulate the thyroid more. And what really happens with the thyroid is that it's affected by so many other parts of the body. It's a great listener, or in other words, it kind of tries to pay attention to everything that's going on and adapt from there. So it will actually downregulate. Your brain is in control of that, but your brain will downregulate based upon the demands of the body. So what happens is people try and push their thyroid, right? It's kind of equivalent. In my office, I would say it's equivalent to if your adrenals are tired or if you're worn down, drinking some type of energy drink or caffeination for that stimulation. If we try and stimulate with caffeine or something like that, it will work shortly, but it's going to backfire after a while. So you can only drink so many cups of coffee in a day, so many energy drinks in a day, and eventually you're going to have a backfiring effect. So what I wanted to talk about is when you're addressing the thyroid, you got to get to the root causes. Some of the major root causes: stress, blood sugar dysregulation, cortisol issues, gut health, and liver health, which is kind of what I talked about in today's video. We also recorded a podcast on it recently, which I will include in the show notes if you want to discuss more about what some of these root causes are and how you can supplement or dig a little bit deeper into the problems with regards to your thyroid now and treating it naturally. Now, obviously, this advice doesn't go for someone that has thyroid cancer, and it doesn't go for a lot of other people. So we highly recommend that you work with someone in your area that's a functional medicine practitioner to get more to the root of the cause. If you're looking for someone that I know, you can find a list on my website at drhoustonanderson.com.